Today I picked up the keys to this Golf GTI. The Mark 4 platform was a huge seller back in the day. In fact, 10 years ago, when I started driving, these were absolutely everywhere. Everybody would buy these for, you know, sub £5,000, spending a lot on insurance when they were younger. These were one of the cars to have. So today I've picked up this one, which is a sub £1,500 car that you can buy today. As ever with these £1,500 car reviews, we are going to go through this car, explain a couple of things, explain the mods, and just have a good look at what you can get for your money these days. As ever guys, make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you're alerted every time I make an upload. But let's get into this Mark 4 Golf GTI. So starting up front, we have this incredibly clean AGU 1.8 litre turbocharged engine. Now it's been a while since I've shot one of these, and usually people say they're around 200 brake horsepower. This one, the owner has even quoted 151 brake horsepower. Low for these days, you know, standards. There's a lot of cars out there that run 2, 3, 4, 500 brake horsepower, but it's a nice conservative number. This is a relatively standard version of the Mark 4, even down to the fact that it's still got a standard airbox on it at the moment. Now it does have a couple of forged pipes up here and down there, and it has a Miltech exhaust system. It is standard apart from that. The owner's idea was to take this and just make it run as if it did from the factory, and then if he ever did want to remap it, put an air filter, a bigger intercooler or anything else on it, he would know the power gains you would be getting and then go and dyno it and have a proper number, which is unheard of. A lot of these are running more power than they should be. They're running a little bit richer than they should be. So again, if you do see one with a standard airbox that's running, you know, relatively standard power at 150, 160 brake horsepower, I think that's a one to buy because it hasn't been molested too much. A lot of people will claim over 200 brake horsepower in these cars, but until they hit a rolling road, you don't really know what you're working with. So it's quite nice to jump in one with relatively standard power. Now it's actually been a solid 5 years since I shot one of these Mark 4 Golf GTIs, and prices have changed a little bit, but this one in front of me, a £1,500 example with 109,000 miles on it. You have the Vertex splitter up front, sort of the same as the Anniversary, but I think the Anniversary one would have slats in the centre. This one as well, with the black headlights, means that the Anniversary style does come out, because the Anniversaries did come with black headlights. I do think though, if you're willing to buy one of these, you can get one with all of these mods on. I do remember back in the day, Raw wanted to make their Mark 4 Golfs into Anniversary replicas or R32 replicas, and I think today you can actually buy these, like this one behind me. It's got a lot of Anniversary stuff on it, whether it's genuine, whether it's not, but it still has the Anniversary theme going on, but it's been included in the sale, so the owner hasn't had to go and source the expensive headlights that people used to try and source back in the day. So again, another thing, like I say, in all of these £1,500 reviews, is if you are wanting one of these, definitely go and try and find one with all of the mods already done to it. It keeps the prices down, and there's a lot of them out there with these mods already done. Now coming down the side on this one, I believe them to be Anniversary side skirts on this. It gives a little bit more depth to the side of the car, and as you can see, it's got RS4 replica wheels, a popular wheel that guys used to put on the Mark 4s back in the day. They do set the car off really well. Silver on silver actually works on the Mark 4 platform, I think. And as you can see by the body lines, this one's incredibly clean for its year. It's a 2002 with 109,000 miles, as I've already said, and it's incredibly clean. Again, you can get one of these with good mileage. You know, 109,000 miles is a good amount of mileage on one of these, and ones with very clean bodies. So a rear end shot of this car, you have down here the Anniversary diffuser, so it makes the rear of the car look a little bit more exciting. I think if you see a standard one, you'll notice the Anniversary rear diffuser a lot more color coded to the car, makes it look a lot better. And this one also has an Anniversary spoiler. Again, subtle things that you may not even notice, but they do complete this car. And again, this was all included in the sale of this car, even down to the private number plate. So again, £1,500. You've got all of this car with the mod and a private number plate. It's an absolute bargain. Now, the owner bought this car with a full Miltech decatted exhaust system. So let's give that a listen, shall we? Yeah, I think considering for the price of Miltex these days, to get one on a car for 1,500 quid, winner winner chicken dinner, the reality is a Miltec is quite expensive for one of these Mark IV platforms. So again, if you're looking to buy one, make sure it's got an exhaust on it. In the interior, as you can see, someone's really gone to town in here. We have the full R32 interior in this car. So you have the big bucket seats up front, which are heated. We'll point out, this car has been loved, you can tell, because someone's actually properly wired all the heated seats in. Someone has really gone to town just perfecting the inside of this car, even down to the door cards. The door cards from the R32 are in this car too, and you even have the brushed aluminium center console that you would have got in the R32. Again, another talking point that you can get all of this, even the armrest has been included because someone's gone to town and spent the money on a proper full R32 interior. So if you are in the market for one of these and you find one with the R interior, go and have a look at it and see if it's all been done right, see if all of the heated seats have been plumbed in properly. That will give you some sort of knowledge that someone's actually cared for this car a little bit more and spent time trying to get all of these modifications in there and working just right. Other things to note inside this car is everything works, which is a true testament to how good these Mark IVs work. If you do find a genuinely nice one where everything still actually works. So that's enough of me waffling on about this Mark IV Golf GTI. Let's get on the road. Let's see what £1,500 gets you. Let's see the build quality now, 18 years later. See how it goes with the relatively standard power we have up front, and go and enjoy ourselves. Now driving the Mark IV Golf GTI, relatively refreshing actually this one, because it's running relatively standard power, 151 brake horsepower this one. It's actually refreshing to get in one of these that, if I'm honest, it drives like it is 150 brake horsepower. It's not trying to be the 200 to 220 brake horsepower one that I seem to see for sale quite a lot with no dyno printout. It is running standard power this, so it acts like a standard car when it comes on boost. It's relatively linear, just like the Skoda that I've just driven for the channel, the £1,500 VRS. Second gear comes on boost and it is so linear, and although it's a little bit greasy today, we've got a little bit of wheel spin here and there, but it does do what it says on the tin. This thing, it's not really letting you down with a silly brake horsepower figure, you know, over 50 brake horsepower than factory, like I see in a lot of for sale ads on these cars. It still acts like 150 brake horsepower 1.8 turbocharged Golf. So this era of Golf, they were a little bit heavier than the predecessors from the Mark III, the Mark II. So the power to weight ratio is a little bit out on these Mark IVs, and that wasn't a problem, and today it's not a problem. I believe that this is still a very linear drive. It's a good pace for this chassis. 150 brake horsepower I know is slightly low in some people's mindsets, especially with cars coming out with silly brake horsepower numbers these days, but it still gets going and it's still fun to drive at that power. You don't have to have all the power in the world to actually get one of these things moving. The chassis themselves are very stable. It's tight and secure, this car, which is why I like the Mark IV platform. It's comfortable as well. Even this one, which is sat on the R32 suspension with 18-inch wheels, is still a pleasure to go down the road in. The gearbox is still nice and tight. It's not too sloppy. Again, I have driven these with sloppy gearboxes, so if you are after one, make sure the gearbox is nice and tight and the steering's direct. This era of Golf was an all-rounder. It's not going to rip your face off with power, but it is a very comfortable drive on a daily basis. It still performs incredibly well. You can feel a little bit of weight there, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's a bad thing from the Mark IV Golf. You sort of come into it expecting it. Yes, if you pitched it against a French hot hatch of the same era, the French hot hatch is going to be a better car to drive, but I think as an all-rounder and a comfy place to be, the Mark IV Golf wins it for me. You do start getting on it, it does reward you. It's not too lumbersome that you do feel like you're trying to get a large wardrobe down a small flight of stairs. It's nothing like that. The suspension is catering to the weight of this car. And you know, I do say about the weight, but it isn't one of those things that you really feel once you're in it. I think if you're back to back in a car of the same sort of era with same sort of price tag, yes, you're going to feel it. But today, I don't really feel it on the roads and the conditions I have. So if you are after a car that is still sprightly and exciting, now on this shoot, this car has been running 19 mpg. I have been, again, enjoying myself like I do in every shoot. Car on it on one of these, the mpg figure will be around 19 mpg. You can get these up to 25-30 on the motorway very easily. I think the VWs of this year do cope very well in both scenarios where you are on the motorway, and it does do a very good, healthy, higher, you know, high 20s mpg figure. And then if you are on it down the back roads like I am today, you will be sub 20. Pricing, yes, you can get one for 500 quid that's got this and that on it. Yes, you can get one for £2,000, which is lower mileage with different mods on it. But I think in the middle, this one I'm driving today is probably the one to go for. One that hasn't had a lot of engine modifications. You can tell by the way this car drives, it's been loved through its 18 years of life. Yes, I think the VWs and Audis, especially from this era, do suffer from a little bit of plastic on plastic rattle, I'm going to call it, but that's nothing to sniff at. It's an older car, so you're going to get that. But other than that, there's no rattles and bangs in this one that I'm driving today. I just do think though, after driving a couple of £1,500 cars, you know, you guys have seen a couple come to the channel now, I'm still baffled that these cars are these prices. This one was bought, this one especially, it's a lovely place to be. For 1,500 quid, again, it's one of those cars that you can jump in, enjoy every day, you know, be pretty reliable. Harping back to the reliability I remember from my friends owning these, it was coil packs, MAF sensors, all that sort of stuff. But other than that, I think you're pretty good on the reliability side. And it's like every other 1,500 quid car I drive at the moment. There is so many of these on the market that you can go and pick the one you want. You can pick the one that has the better interior. You can pick the one that's got more power. You can pick the one that's got higher mileage for a cheaper price. There's so many out there. It doesn't really matter if you're after a specific car, because chances are there probably will be one. Trying to get a large wardrobe down a store. So you are far, but it's cheap to buy. It's cheap to buy. Cheap to buy.